Hey book besties, welcome back to another book video. Today I'm going to be going through all the books that I DNF'd, aka all the books I did not finish in 2022. I used to be the type of person that would refuse to DNF a book because I would feel so guilty for starting a book and never finishing it, and that meant that even if I was absolutely hating a book, I would force myself to finish it. But 2022 was the year that I was like, if I'm reading a book and by at least the 50-page mark I am not enjoying it, I will DNF it. So I thought it would actually be interesting to tell you guys the books that I did not finish and also give you guys my reasons as to why I did not finish it. Also, I am planning on filming a video talking about every single book that I read in 2022. So if that's something that you are interested in seeing, definitely subscribe. I'm going to be filming that towards the end of December or early January. But for now, here are all the books that I DNF'd in 2022. So the first book I DNF'd in 2022 was Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I'm just not into classics. I picked this one up for the Hello 2022 readathon, and it was actually the prompt for a book outside of my comfort zone, and this is still very much outside of my comfort zone. So I tried so hard to read it, but it's just not happening, and I don't know when I'm ever going to pick up a classic, but I don't think it's anytime in the near future because every time I read a classic it gives me nightmares of high school, so no. Then I DNF'd a very popular OG BookTok book, and that was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I really wanted to try this book out because of how much everyone was raving about it on BookTok. I borrowed it from the library. I think I got about maybe 50 pages in and I was just like, this is going in one ear and out the other. I was just not invested in the story. I was so bored, and I just think any book that is kind of like Greek mythology is just not a book that I particularly enjoy. It just is not my cup of tea. So I chose to DNF the book because I knew that I was not going to enjoy it because the 50 pages that I was reading was so hard to read. Then I DNF'd Bunny by Mona Award. I think I got about 70 pages into this book and I was just like, I don't understand what's going on. And I was like, I just don't think this is really a book that I'm going to enjoy. The only reason I picked this book up is because I saw Books with Chloe raving about this book because it's one of her favorite books, and I wanted to try it out because everyone, after they finish reading the book, go on Reddit and read all like the theories and stuff, and I was like, I want to know what's going on. So I tried to read it, and safe to say that I probably will never pick this book up again because it's just not my cup of tea. Then I DNF'd Hot British Boyfriend by Christy Boyce. I actually got over halfway through this book and then I decided to DNF it because the characters were so annoying. Like, I was literally rolling my eyes throughout majority of this book. It was just annoying. It was just such an annoying book, and I was so excited to read it because it's set in London and the main character is over there because she's studying abroad, but the real reason that she's actually there is because she's escaping like this humiliation that happened in her hometown, and she's actually only in England because she wants to find a hot British boyfriend. And yeah, I thought this book was going to be good, but it was just so bad. Not gonna lie, I mainly borrowed this book from the library because there was a corgi on the cover and I was like, okay, cute. But also this book concept sounded really cool because it's basically about this main character who doesn't really have much hope in love, and she goes to this resort which is like a rom-com simulation thing, and she ends up falling for the guy who is the creator of the rom-com simulation resort. So the concept was really cool, but I felt the execution just wasn't that great. I did DNF this one around the halfway mark as well, and the reason I DNF'd it is because it was just really boring and it was so dragged out. I was so excited to read this one because the concept was just so cool, but it was just not executed in a great way and it was not holding my attention at all. The next book I DNF'd was A Million Junes by Emily Henry. This is the author of Beach Read, People We Meet on Vacation, and Book Lovers. I feel like a lot of people don't realize that she has actually written young adult books as well. So I was really intrigued to pick this one up. But I was actually DNF'd this book at the 200 page mark, which, yeah, I read 200 pages of it and I decided to DNF it. So I feel like it was a literal waste of time. This is basically like a Romeo and Juliet retelling, reimagining, and there's a lot of magical realism in this book. And I just don't think I am a fan of magical realism. I think magical realism is very much hit or miss, and I feel like with this book I wasn't really enjoying the magical realism aspects of the book, to the point that I was just not wanting to pick up this book. So I DNF'd it for that reason. The next book I DNF'd is a BookTok fave, and that is The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. Honestly, it was nothing to do with the book. Actually, it was very much a me problem because I was in a bit of a reading slump when I was reading this book, and it wasn't even anything to do with this book specifically. I got about 100 pages in and then I had to return it back to the library and I couldn't renew it, and then I just never borrowed the book again because there are other books that I've been wanting to read more than this one. So yeah, this is probably a book I would definitely consider picking up again in the future. It's just not really that much high priority in my TBR. So yeah, the reason that I DNF'd this book was because I was in a reading slump and I was not wanting to pick it up, but I can definitely see myself picking this one up again in the future. The next book I DNF'd was The Love Shack by Jane Costello. This book was just very, very boring. I didn't get too far into it. I can't remember where I stopped off at, but every time I would pick this book up, I would regret it. So I will probably never pick this book up again. I also DNF'd The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. I only managed to read a couple of chapters of this book, and the reason I had to DNF this one was because I had to return it back to the library. So I haven't been able to re-borrow it since, and I haven't really been in the mood for a mystery or thriller, so that's why I haven't re-borrowed it. But I have a feeling I'll probably end up picking this book up again next year for spooky season. There's nothing that I didn't enjoy about the book. It was just that I had to return it back to the library, and that's why I had to DNF it. And the last book that I DNF'd in 2022 was Angelica Frankenstein Makes Her Match by Sally Thorne. I love Sally Thorne as an author. The Hating Game and Second First Impressions are two of my favorite books. They're so good. So I was really excited to pick this one up because it's pretty much a Frankenstein reimagining. So in this book, Frankenstein has a sister named Angelica. Angelica actually does the Frankenstein method where she ends up creating her own boyfriend named Will. I DNF'd this one around the 100 page mark, so it was about 30% through the book. It was an okay read, but it just wasn't capturing my attention, so I chose to DNF it. But I feel like it's a book that I may come back to later on. I think I just need to be in a specific mood to read it. It was just definitely very different and very interesting. Nothing like any of the romances I have read previously. Those were all the books that I DNF'd in 2022. There were only 10 books that I didn't finish, so I'm pretty happy with that. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Definitely give this video a huge thumbs up if you did, and subscribe to my channel down below. I post new videos every single week, and if you guys want to see every book that I read in 2022, that will be up towards the end of the year or early in 2023. Also follow me on my social medias. I'll have everything linked in my description, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!